Hi everyone. Why would you destroy my heart like that? Why? Yeah, whatever. Hi everyone, we're reading again today. I'm gonna start saying these at the beginning of the streams because if some people are just like watching the VODs and they're like, where are we? We're on chapter 26, still the airplane extras, and we're on part 3. So if that's where you're needing to be, this is that. Okay, now we can go into a little bit of chatting first. How you doing? Hi Lokami, how are you? Hi everyone. I had a big day today. I'll just tell you that. We had the winter concert earlier today. I just had like an hour break before, after I was on that co-hosting with my buddies, with my buds, with my best buds. Hi Hydra, how you doing? Oh, how was the concert? It was wow. It was wonderful. We had a good time. I don't actually need to hold this right now. We had a good time. I have a new cover out now. It was my solo for the concert. It's Light of Life from Apothecary Diaries. If you want to know, if you want to go listen to that, you can feel free to do that. I don't really have much to say. I mean, I do have a lot to say, but I don't, you know, whatever. My thoughts are all over the place. Bruh, I'm so tired. I woke up early today so that I could do concert prep and stuff and cook and get that out of the way. And so I'm a very eepy boy. But it was fun. I had a good time. I hope you had a good time if you were there at the concert. Okay. Short shoot the pass up, possibly. I don't know. I mean, these streams, honestly, sometimes when I'm feeling worse, I do better with these streams. I don't know why. It's worse in different ways. It's weird. Okay. Why you make me cry? Don't forget. I must make you cry every single concert. Guys, how do I make you cry next concert? How do I do that next concert? I do a sad song. Oh, come back. Cause we're already talking about. We just finished this concert today, but we're already talking about a Valentine's concert. Apothecary is my favorite thing ever. I was on my phone. Me too. It's my favorite thing ever. Why do you think I fucking covered that song? Why do you think I chose that song? Actually, you know, it was Sky who was like, "Hey, you should do this song," and it was an Apothecary Diary song. It was actually the one where Mao Mao is dancing on the wall, right? But then I was like, wait, I think I have a better idea. So I did that one. Woohoo, Hydra, let's go. I already cried daily, thanks though. Yeah, it's just helping you get your tears out, your daily tears out, you know? If I ever hear someone cover that one Guilty Crown song, I might never recover. What Guilty Crown song? You'll have to link it in the Discord or something. Anyway, I might be a little not energetic today, a little low energy, because of everything I said before. People are still loud outside. That's crazy. That's crazy, but that's fine. All we have to do is read today. That's fine. Even everyone killed it, had the best time. Yay! Yippee! I think that was really. It's always really nice to see how people improve through the concerts. You know, like everyone has improved so much since their first concert. And it's just beautiful to see, you know? It's just beautiful. And it's fun to bring people together as well. You know, working with each other. It's awesome. It's community, and it's awesome. And it's community, and I love that. And I think it's beautiful. That's why we do it. And it's why we do it, alright? I hope everyone has fun with it too. Alright. Good vibes all around. Exactly. Okay, there are some stressful vibes. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that it wasn't stressful at points, because it was very stressful at some points, but in the end, in the end, it's us being together and it's us creating something together that is the main point, right? It's the main focus. That's what we're here for. That's what we're doing. Doing something just for the sake of doing it, essentially. It's for community and having fun. And it is fun. I am taking my tea bag out of my tea because I was kind of rushed. Hee hee, thank you. I bet. I was a little bit rushed to. I was munching on some food. So I have this. I have my tea. Are we ready, guys? Are we ready to read? Are we ready to read? I'm so happy to read again because I couldn't read last week because of the freaking people outside. Because of the freaking people outside, but we can read again. I'm so happy. Let's get through these airplane extras, alright? Alright. There should be like a skip to bar in the VOD to skip to here to do to skip to after talking and You know what I noticed? I'm sorry. My book has a sticker, Barnes & Noble exclusive, includes bonus fold-out insert. I didn't get that. I did not, in fact, get that. Unless I did. Unless I'm actually insane. Hello? I'm fucking stupid. I've had this the whole time. I've had this the whole time? Okay, that's cool. It's just been tucked away in the back of the book. I didn't think it was anything. I thought it was the end of I didn't think it was an actual... Oh my god, I'm gonna kill... No, I'm not gonna do that. That's drastic. That's wild. Anyway. Shall we get started? Reading. Airplane extras. Extras. Chapter 26, part 3. On page 185, exactly at the top. Woohoo! My tea is too hot to drink right now, so I'll just have a sip of water before we start. Are we getting comfy? Are we comfy? Alright. Oh my god, hello Yaoi Maxing. Thank you for following. Oh my god. I love that you're... I love that so much. Thank you so much for the follow. I feel so honored. I'm finally being recognized for what I am. All right. Let's get started. Let's actually get started now, okay? Okay, we're reading Yaoi. We're reading BL. Let's go. One day, Shang Qinghua's concise great system delivered a new command. Become an Anding Peak head disciple within 3 years. He'd already run missions into the outside world and made a good showing under Mo Beijun's care, but if he wanted to become head disciple, he would also have to pay more than a little attention to affairs within Sangchong Mountain itself. As everyone knew, all the cannon fodder supporting caste in proud immortal demon Wei only had an IQ of 40. Therefore, the so-called palace intrigue was pretty much all at this level. So the old Anding Peak Lord already had a head disciple. Let's call him A. A was outstanding to the max, where outstanding meant being a master of serving tea, changing water, washing clothes, and folding blankets, and that he was considered a dab hand at the housekeeping services center. Some days, the old Peak Lord requested that A make 12 delicious flat cakes and send one to each peak. All Shang Qinghua needed to do at such time was stealthily scatter a ton of salt or sugar on every flat cake that A had meticulously made in order to render them flat out unpalatable. Repeat the above process 3 times. And okay, now the Peak Lord has finally lost all hope in his former senior disciple. Think about it. If you can't make a good flat cake, what can you possibly do? Now all Shang Qinghua needed to do was display his expert culinary skills a couple of times, and he could successfully ascend. This was called, if you don't have enough IQ, make up for it with stupid plot twists, If you can't do the best, then be the worst. He's a sneaky boy. He's a sneaky boy. If the plot is so imbecilic that readers roast it like crazy, that's also kind of a success. In Proud Immortal Demon Way, these types of plots were too numerous to count. The way in which readers flocked together all year round to roast them could have been said to be one of the great spectacles of Zhangdian comment sections. And the fiercest roaster of all was none other than Peerless Cucumber. Who could have guessed it? Who could have possibly guessed it? As Shang Qinghua thought about this, he couldn't help but feel a bit of nostalgia for those comment section companions, and for that one dear friend in particular. He truly missed the force behind those inexhaustible howls that ran along the lines of airplanes shooting towards the sky. It's exactly because you have these kind of ideas that you're only a third-rate stallion novel writer. However, as an Onding Peak head disciple, his troubles only increased. For example, I need to sneeze. Nope. Whoa. Oh, I didn't like that feeling. That felt spicy. Is my tea done? Ooh, not quite. Okay. For example, in his time as an outer disciple, he never would have had the chance to descend the mountain on a quest with Shen Qingqiu and Lu Qingge. How many fucking lives of disastrous karma must he have lived to draw this super special prize? Sangchong Mountain placed a high emphasis on maintaining kinship between peers. It was common for a handful of head disciples to group up and sally out on side quests every now and again. On this one, the division of labor between the three of them was clear. Lu Qingge was the thug hired to be a vanguard, while Shen Qingqiu was in the center, in charge of feigning civility and deploying sneak attacks and finishing blows, as well as waving a fan and being a poser. But don't let anyone know he said that. And Shang Qinghua? Naturally, he was the one in charge of driving the carriage, making inn reservations, carrying luggage, and managing both the trip's income and expenses. Logistics, you know? If only he had been let off so easily, that would have been great. Who is speaking? They say that at night, if you stick your head over the edge of the well and look into its mouth, you'll see your reflection within, lighting up as it smiles faintly and beckons. Out of nowhere, it drags people in and drowns them. Sometimes you'll even see your dead relatives. Shang Qinghua coughed. Shen Shishang, Lu Shidi, can you let me finish first? He put the scroll down. Shen Qingqiu whisked a book out from his sleeve. He could turn on his poser act anytime and anywhere, sitting or standing. At present, he was leaning on the trunk of an old banyan tree in the shade, putting his magnificent scholarly essence on full display. Meanwhile, Lu Qingge had already gone to stand by the mouth of the well and stuck his head over the edge to look inside. Lu Qingge wanted to wrap things up as fast as possible to avoid having to interact with Shen Qingqiu at any point during the trip, and Shen Qingqiu would let Lu Qingge finish doing all the hard work and get lost as fast as possible. Neither one cared to burden himself with the other's presence. Each had their own considerations, and neither was listening to Shang Qinghua's careful explanation of the mission. Lu Qingge looked back up. It didn't. Shang Qinghua understood. Lu Qingge meant, my reflection didn't smile faintly and beckon to me. He spread his hands. Well, how about we have Shen Shishang go over and try? Shen Qingqiu stowed away his book, swapping it for a folding fan. He strolled over to the side of the well. Please step aside. Lu Qingge had already stepped aside a good dozen paces. Shen Qingqiu carelessly took a look into the well, but this also seemed to yield no results. Shang Qinghua flipped through the scroll, paper rustling. That's so strange. This clearly said, The unfortunate thing was, no matter how hard he rustled the paper, he couldn't drown out the sound of Shen Qingzhou's malicious question. "We've tried both. Isn't it your turn?" Sure enough, in this world, even the monsters bullied the weak and feared the strong. Yes. When the other two had looked, they hadn't seen a damn thing, but when it was Shang Qinghua's turn, he clearly saw his own reflection coquettishly wave its hand. Without another word, Lu Qingge smacked his sword's hilt. In a powerful arc, Cheng Luan flew from its sheath and rushed into the well. After a moment of silence, the tranquil surface of the water began to churn and bubble. Shang Qinghua scrupulously took one step back, then another, retreating a safe distance away, only to hear a burst of ghastly wailing before a giant wispy blob of spirits spewed out of the well and shot into the sky. Lu Qingge smashed apart a clump of women's heads that were chasing and biting at him. "Get back!" Usually, once the fighting started, any Anding Peak disciples not in charge of replenishing supplies were supposed to scram as far away as possible and hang back at a safe location. Unfortunately, Shang Qinghua had miscalculated and didn't scram far enough. All his means of egress were blocked by the resentful spirits, which had taken the form of a white haze. Now that things had come to this, he could only bust out his special ability. His eyes rolled back into his head, and he collapsed on the spot. Playing dead was a time-tested technique. In the chaos of battle, Lu Qingge and Shen Qingzhou accidentally pressed their backs together, and their faces simultaneously contorted with looks of revulsion. Shen Qingzhou had already shot out a spiritual blast, which brushed by Lu Qingge's shoulder as it passed. Lu Qingge, angered, immediately retaliated with a blow. Great. The entirety of their combat forces were now ignoring the enemy in order to fight among themselves. "Are you blind?" Shen Qingzhou yelled. "What are you hitting?" Lu Qingge wasn't any more polite. "Who hit first? Who went blind first?" Shang Qinghua lay on the ground, eyes still rolled back. He had clearly seen when, moments ago, a faint white shadow peeked out from behind Lu Qingge. Shen Qingzhou's attack had passed Lu Qingge's shoulder to disperse it. As he watched, the blows his peers rained down on each other grew fiercer and fiercer, their eyes going red with bloodlust. Forgetting to play dead, he sat up and called weakly, "You guys, don't fight! Lucidity, you misunderstood. In fact, Shen Qingshang was just—" Shen Qingzhou flung out his hand, and several deep, deep cracks were smashed into the wall by Shang Qinghua's head. Dust and pebbles streamed down. "If you're going to die, then die completely," Shen Qingzhou said icily. "Don't change your mind halfway." Without another word, Shang Qinghua collapsed and went back to contentedly play dead. At last, they sealed away the well creature and all the resentful spirits it had collected in a retrieval vessel, not missing a single one. Shang Qinghua led over the cart and horse. Without sparing them a single glance, Lu Qingge took off down a different road. Shang Qinghua said hurriedly, "Lucidi, where are you going?" Lu Qingge snorted. "I will not journey alongside a backstabbing colleague." Shen Qingzhou clapped his hands and smiled. "How wonderful. For my part, I don't care to journey alongside someone who's all brawn and no brains. Shang-Chi, let's go." He grasped Shang Qinghua's shoulder, and Shang Qinghua squeaked an agreement through teeth clenched in pain. Finally, struggling free of Shen Qingzhou's evil clutches, he caught up with Lu Qingge to caution him. "Lucidi, Xishang has a word of advice to offer. Don't cultivate by yourself all the time. It's easy to fall into a chi deviation." Lu Qingge still hadn't responded when, on the other road, Shen Qingzhou used the base of his fan to rap on the rails of the cart. Shang Qinghua hurried back. The whole way home, he watched Shen Qingqiu closely while driving the cart. Shen Qingqiu was leaning on the side of the carriage reading a book, but under Shang Qinghua's stare, his expression grew darker and darker. He narrowed his eyes. "What are you staring at me for?" "Shen Shishong, I really wasn't going to say anything," Shang Qinghua said timidly. "But since you've asked me so sincerely, then you're holding the book upside down." You might be wondering how I got here." He's so Nickelodeon coded. I'm fine. In a split, our disconnect of the stream. Was that it, or is there more? Please, please. Whoa, what is happening? What is happening? What is happening to my YouTube? Alright. I think it's alright. Kept going for you. Okay. I think we're okay. It's YouTube is being silly as well, but we're back. We're back. Right. I'm gonna go back to this. In a split second, Shen Qingqiu's face reddened. He abruptly rose and drew his sword. No, don't do anything rash. Shen Qingqiu had the thinnest face. If you tore down his pretenses right in front of him, he would remember you for a lifetime. Shang Qinghua was already regretting the quip. But if a person like Shen Qingqiu, who had perfected the art of poserhood, was holding his book upside down, he really had to be incensed. That sounded about right. He had gone to all that trouble to do a good thing, but the result hadn't met his expectations. But if that was the problem, then he should just go and explain himself to Lu Qingge. Just admit he was trying to help him out. But Shen Qingqiu wouldn't do that. But Shen Qingqiu wouldn't do it. I'm getting my words so great today. I'm doing so great with words. If you won't do it, just let me help you explain, thought Shang Qinghua. But Shen Qingqiu wouldn't compromise his own pride. Maybe he was too embarrassed. People really shouldn't twist themselves into knots. That's just self-torture. Shen Qingqiu stared at him with a vicious gaze, and cold sweat flowed down Shang Qinghua's back. After a while, Shen Qingqiu finally sat back down and sheathed his sword. With great effort, he composed himself, then said with a superficial smile, "Shang Qinghua, shut up, all right?" Shang Qinghua's heart itched ferociously. He raised a hand. He raised a hand. "Can I say one more thing?" Shen Qingqiu rubbed his temple with his right hand, then lifted his chin to indicate permission to speak. Shang Qinghua looked at him with an earnest gaze, then spoke the most meaningful and heartfelt string of words he had spoken since an electric current had shocked him into proud immortal demon way. "If in the future you see someone fall into a chi deviation, don't panic and don't rush up rashly thinking you can save them. You must stay calm and call for help. Don't try to do it yourself. If you don't, you'll definitely be more of a hindrance than anything, and you'll make a big mess, and you'll abandon yourself in despair from there on. You'll never be free of it for the rest of your life. Even jumping into the Yellow River won't wash you clean." Shen Qingqiu was mystified. If someone else fell into a chi deviation, what would that have to do with me? Why would I panic? Why would I want to help? Shang Qinghua's face was the very definition of, "I knew you'd say that." Either way, just make sure you remember. Whee! Whee! That's a scene break. That's the end of that scene. Oh, brother. Oh, brother. I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea where I'm gonna stop today because, the next part is like really long, and I can't break it up. It's very important that I do not break it up. I must read it all in one, so this might be a little short. Yellow River. You know what? You know what that. Anyway, we're on page 192. I think it's so sad he really did want to save Luch. I know. I hate MXTX. So much angst potential in this. That's why it works so well with fandom works. It's got so much potential, you know? There's so much in there. Yeah, sorry, my wrist is aching a bit. Woo. Okay, let's get started on this part. Once Shang Qinghua became the Peak Lord, he at last long no longer needed to bow and scrape to anyone. A busy life was still a busy life, but at least he had been promoted from exploited servant girl to head of official affairs. Nope, head of internal affairs. This totally counted as rapid progress in long steps. Apparently, that particular person in Qingjing Peak, whom no one could afford to offend, had fallen ill. After he recovered, a secret meeting was held on Chongding Peak. In the side hall of Chongding Peak, 10 of the 12 Peak Lords were present and accounted for. Do you feel that Qingqiu Shiri has been very odd these past few days? Yue Qingyuan asked, completely focused on the topic. Several Peak Lords agreed. More than just odd, said Lu Qingge in a solemn tone. He's practically a whole different person, muttered Qi Qingqi. Just then, Shang Qinghua stepped into the side hall, worn and weary from travel. Over the past few years, why can I not say this? Chansao Peak? Why can I not say this? What the fuck? Over the past few years, Chansao Peak's dragon bone cantaloupe seeds had been selling quite well outside the sect, and he had already spent several months rushing about on sales trips. He had been dragged into this mysterious meeting as soon as he got back, and he still didn't quite understand the situation. He rubbed his hands together. About that, I haven't seen Shen Shishong for a few days. Could everyone please elaborate? How exactly has he been odd? He had a calm and harmonious conversation with me for a whole 2 hours, said Yue Qingyuan. Shang Qinghua was both speechless and terrified. Yeah, my god, how odd! That really is very odd. Ordinarily speaking, the bridge between these two was impassively burned. Without rebuilding the bridge, there was absolutely no chance of harmonious developments. Thus far, the T-5 sentences until they part on terrible terms rule had held true as baseline normal. A whole 2 hours' worth of a calm and harmonious exchange. This was more than a fantastical level of progress. In the Lingxi caves, he helped me, said Lu Qingge. Shang Qinghua finally remembered. Right. By now, Shen Qingzhou should have already, quote-unquote, helped Lu Qingge to his death. How could Lu Qingge still be hanging about, sitting here to attend a meeting? Was it possible that the warning Shang Qinghua had given Shen Qingzhou after defeating the well creature had actually made an impact? The other Peak Lords continued to list Shen Qingzhou's every behavioral oddity over the last few days. Sustained injury while beating back an impetuous demoness, this, stepping forth to protect his disciples and showing care and concern. That Shang Qinghua's face began to twitch. He thought it over back and forth, but no matter how he looked at it, this kind of altruistic, self-sacrificing character behavior was seriously OOC. Unable to resist, he said, Wait, he couldn't have been possessed, could he? Wei Shishong, how is your sword trials terrace? Did he visit? At the Sword Trials Terrace of Wei Jingwei's Wanjian Peak, there was a mystical sword known as Hongjing, which no person had ever been able to draw. But if something like a resentful soul or evil spirit were to approach the blade, it unsheathed of its own accord. If Shen Qingzhou had really been possessed by some impure creature, as long as he approached the Sword Trials Terrace, Hongjing would emphatically sound the alarm. However, Wei Qingwei said, he went 3 times and tried to draw at every one, and there was absolutely no sign of movement. There is no demonic energy in his body, Ye Qingyuan said slowly. I could detect no signs that he has been possessed. Qi Qingqi spread her hands. It doesn't make any sense for him to be possessed. Possession at least involves some sort of goal, but he hasn't been doing anything. He's more idle than before. After the discussion session, they remained unable to reach a decision. In the end, Mu Qingfang said, It's not necessarily a case of possession. In my opinion, perhaps Shen Shishang's old problem has reappeared. All the Peak Lords looked at each other. What this old problem was didn't need to be said aloud. Everyone understood. Shen Qingzhou, as a person, was ambitious and aggressive, proud and arrogant. This wasn't the first time he tried to force instant success. Maybe he had gone off to cultivate in secret again and had ended up falling into a qi deviation. Mu Qingfang continued his analysis. I have heard of quite a few such cases. When a person is hit on the head with a large rock, or if they perhaps suffer a violent shock, sometimes they'll lose a few of their memories of the past. So it's not necessarily impossible for someone to fall into a qi deviation, leading to their temperament to undergo major changes. Then, is it possible to recover? Ye Qingyuan asked. Don't do that. Don't do that. Come back to me. Come back to me. Okay, so YouTube is taking the brunt of this. I think Twitch is okay with it, but YouTube is taking the brunt of it. We're okay though. We're back. Just lagged out for a second. They all knew. Shen Qingzhou thought Shen Yuan, mind you, thought he was being so slick. And this guy. They all fucking knew. Qi Qingqi wrinkled her nose. Zhangmen Shishang, do you actually hope he'll remember and recover his previous character and conduct? Ye Qingyuan started. Me? I cannot say. When he continued, it was earnestly. Even though the way he is now is overall very good as well, if he can remember, it will be for the better. Before, he never offered a proper greeting when he met Zhangmen Shishang or his fellow sect members, one of the other Peak Lords said in confusion. He never visited us at our homes, and when he spoke, it was all needles and concealed. I can read. And when he spoke, it was all needles concealed in silk floss, full of biting sarcasm. What was good about that? The way he is now is quite an improvement. Whoa, were you expecting angst here? Oh my god. Ye Qingyuan smiled faintly, but he did not speak. The last time I went to write his prescription for Without a Cure, I examined him, Mu Qingfang said awkwardly. There were no significant symptoms, so it would be difficult to know where to begin. I'm afraid we can only let nature take its course. Having reached the verdict, the Qingjing Peak Lord has lost his memory. Celebrate and spread the joyful news. The meeting adjourned. After this meeting concluded, Shang Qinghua felt he was very much obliged to investigate these strange happenings, in passing while delivering Qingjing Peak's funds. But before Shang Qinghua started his investigation, he went to Baijian Peak. Normally speaking, in terms of seniority, Qingjing Peak was ranked 2nd in Sangcheng Mountain and Baijian Peak was ranked 7th. After making his deliveries to the first-ranked Chongqing Peak, his next stop should have been Qingjing. But on one hand, Shen Jingzhou was too hard to please, and Shang Qinghua had to rack his brains every time he went to figure out how not to offend him. On the other hand, Baijian Peak loved fighting, so Shang Qinghua felt safer giving them their funds first. This is so dark, but also low-key funny. That's what this whole thing is. Isn't that crazy? God, I love this genre. There's so much food in this. I love it. Safer how? It was precisely this sense of safety a small shop owner felt when handing his protection fee to the local gang boss. The one who greeted him was Lu Qingge's Shiri, Ji Zhe, who was as enthusiastic as always. The two exchanged some small talk, and after the handover was complete, Ji Zhe said, "Shang Qishong, take care. I'm returning to the training grounds." When Shang Qinghua realized that Ji Zhe seemed reluctant to see him leave, he said, "Lu Shiri has been staying at Baijian Peak more often lately. Has any Shiri had a sudden increase in cultivation?" Lu Qingge spent all his time in the outside world looking for people to fight. No one in Baijian Peak was a match for him, and he typically only came back once a month at most. Whenever Baijian Peak's disciples and juniors flocked to Chansao Peak to seek treatment, that meant he had just returned. But lately, Chansao Peak's doorsteps had nearly been trampled flat by those great lords from Baijian Peak, and the medicinal peak's funds were getting light. Mu Qingfang had started to ask Shang Qinghua for loans every few days, which Shang Qinghua found strange. He couldn't help but wonder, had an extraordinary genius who could stand up to Lu Qingge appeared on Baijian Peak? So he asked. Ji Zhe dropped in gloom. "It's not our peak. It's Shen Qingzhou." Shang Qinghua hadn't expected any earth-shattering news, so he just smiled and nodded. "Oh, Shen Qingzhou. Shen Qingzhou?" As Shang Qinghua digested the enormous amount of information contained in those two words, he was almost ascended out of shock on the spot. Shen Qingzhou? At Baijian Peak? At the Baijian Peak training grounds, no less. Doing what? Getting a one-sided beatdown from Lu Qingge? No. Given his skill in drawing aggro, it was probably a group beatdown. But what if it became fatal? He's an important scum villain, you know. If he gets beaten to death, who's going to torment Binge? Shang Shishong, what's that look in your eyes? Ji Zhe asked after a silence. Don't look at me like that. We didn't kill anyone. Shen Jingzhou is still alive, and no one's done anything to him. You should be asking what he did to us. So, Shang Qinghua jogged with Ji Zhe all the way to the training grounds. On the high basalt platform, Lu Qingge and Shen Jingzhou were in actual fact merely crossing swords in an orderly match. Lu Qingge's movements were much slower than usual. Rather than calling it crossing swords, you might as well have called it feeding his opponent training strikes. The space between his brows was still rather smooth, and it emanated none of his typical homicidal tendencies. Just then, Shen Jingzhou's sword struck air. He knitted his brows, and his left hand twitched. Shang Xinghua's heart suddenly stretched taut. He glanced at Ji Zhe out of the corner of his eye and saw that his expression also twitched, like he had an urge to shout out loud. The two glanced at each other in a flash of wordless understanding. Ji Zhe had his heart still palpitating, Jiju, his heart still palpitating, said in a low voice, I always feel like Shen Qingqiu is about to deploy a concealed weapon dipped in poison or something. Shang Qinghua expressed his deep agreement. Heroes think alike. It looked like Ji Shidi understood this character very thoroughly. Exactly what he expected from the fellow who had once picked a fight with Shen Qingqiu at a brothel. They were old enemies who had both soundly lost the faces of 2 whole peaks. Shen Qingqiu drew back Shuya and stopped to think. For one, he didn't let out a laugh cold. That's it. Okay. For one, he didn't let out a laugh cold like rustling wind, and for 2, he didn't look askance at anyone. If one looked at him now, he would see a mild brow and peaceful gaze. What the? I'm sorry, bro, my brain. Words are so fun. Hi. Words are so fun. I'll hydrate. Thank you. Stress. Whoa, okay. Let's get back into it. Where the fuck was I? If one looked at him now, one would see a mild brow and peaceful gaze that still carried a modest air of elegant nobility. Soon after, Shen Qingqiu said, I don't understand. Lu Qingge flicked a swift and fierce flourish with his sword. Don't understand what? A disciple next to Jiju muttered, Heavens, he doesn't understand again. I can't take it anymore, another disciple said quietly. My stomach feels bad. I'm going back. Shitty, wait for me too. Jiju said hurriedly. His Shitty pushed him back. Stay, didn't you just get back? On the platform, Shen Qingqiu said, Just then, in those few moves, if I blocked your sword with my right hand and let loose a spiritual blast with my left, finding an opportunity to strike your stomach, I would have had a chance of winning. Not possible, Lu Qingge scoffed. Most possible, Shen Qingqiu persisted. If you could have won, why didn't you try it? Isn't this just sparring? Shen Qingqiu said aloof. Attacking in earnest would be out of line. OOC warning, OOC. Goodness gracious. Lu Qingge didn't bother to reply. Instead, he yelled into the crowd below the platform. You, get up here. The person he selected ascended the platform with an expression like the hero Yi Shi, grimly prepared to stare death in the face. Using the method Shen Qingqiu had suggested, they traded a few blows with Lu Qingge before getting blown straight off the platform by Cheng Luan. Lu Qingge sheathed his sword and turned to Shen Qingqiu. See, it wouldn't work. Shen Qingqiu snapped open his fan and waved it in front of his chest. I see, he said, all smiles. Lu Shidi's reflexes are too fast. It wouldn't work after all. Every time he says, I don't understand, Lu Shishang grabs someone to demonstrate until he understands. Jiju quietly complained to Shang Qinghua. That's so fucked up. God, I love Lu Qingge, but oh my god, he's not even questionable. He's just straight up abusive, and that's so something. That sure is something. No wonder the injuries at Baijian Peak had only increased over the past few days, while Chansao Peak's front courtyard was as busy as a marketplace. Shang Qinghua had only one thought in response to this, that Shen Qingqiu had to be doing this on purpose. After he descended the platform, Lu Qingge continued to train, beat up, the Baijian Peak disciples. Shen Qingqiu and Shang Qinghua exchanged greetings, then walked down the mountain together. Just as they were about to exit through the gate, Jiju caught up to them, carrying 2 sacks, which he gave to Shen Qingqiu and Shang Qinghua. Shang Qinghua didn't understand, so he undid the tie to take a look. Inside, he saw two balls of bloody, hairy things nestled together. And this is... Lu Shishong caught these short-haired beasts, Jijue said, expression stiff. Apparently they taste very good. Shishong, please take them back to your own peaks to cook them as you please. Short-haired beasts? What short-haired beast? Did I really ever create this creature? Is it edible? Are you sure? It looked like Shen Qingzhou was also highly suspicious of the creature's edibility. Thank you for your trouble. Shishong said, this is a gift to return for the tea leaves Qingjing Peak recently sent. Jijue recited woodenly. Tea leaves? Tea leaves? Shen Qingzhou had given Lu Qingge tea leaves? What was this? Were they exchanging presents? Internally, Shang Qinghua yelled, "Holy shit!" While externally, he kept a smile on his face. You mean to say that this is all thanks to Shen Qingzhou's generosity? What sort of high-quality tea leaves were what sort of high-quality tea leaves were these? They were harvested from the tea fields of my senior disciple Ming Fan's family, Shen Qingzhou said affably. As for whether they're high quality, won't Shangshidi know if he comes for tea at Qingjing Peak? Shang Qinghua thickened his face, shameless. Then I have Lu Qishang's generosity to thank as well. So, each carrying a sack, talking about this and that, they walked toward Qingjing Peak. That's not a steam break, I'm just drinking tea. Taking a short break to rest my voice, I guess. Honestly, this would be a good place to break, but I think we have... You know what, yeah, let's take our break here because we have only a couple of... like 10, 12, 15 pages left. I'm just gonna take a break, let the ads run, and rest my voice for a second, walk around and whatnot. I'll be back in like 3 minutes. Yeah, I'll be back. Okay, BRB. See you in a bit. Burb. Alright, we are back. We are back for a bit. How we doing? It hasn't even been a full hour yet, but as I said, it was gonna be a short stream today. And we're just chilling, and we're just chilling, and we're just chilling. Alive! Alive! No, you're supposed to be dead. You're supposed to be dead! What's that from? Oh, it's from Pirates of the Caribbean. Don't worry about it. Where were we? Right, we're on the top of page 201. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Let me drink a little more tea. Okay. Okay. Let's do it. Let's go on. As soon as they passed the mountain gates, serene wind caressed their faces and faint bird song chittered away. It was an atmosphere entirely distinct from that of the outer world. Together they walked over a soft layer of green bamboo leaves that covered the ground and found themselves feeling several times more refreshed. For some reason, Shen Qingqiu's mood was quite good. He didn't look the least bit like he had just lost to Lu Qingge. He even offered an idle bit of praise. Lu Shidi's swordsmanship is truly quite something. Shang Qinghua couldn't resist reminding him, Shen Qishong, how many times did you lose? Shen Qingqiu thought it over. You're asking about this morning? It was only 7 or 8 times. Then how are you this calm? Shouldn't you be gnashing your teeth in fury, tears staining your face like raindrops on a flower petals? A cuckoo crying blood as you whip around to go back into seclusion for 3 months, swearing to duel again? Don't you know you're being OOC? Can't you show a bit more dedication to your role? This was all in his head. Shen Qingqiu bashfully tapped the handle of his fan to his nape. There's nothing you can do about losing to the Baijian Peak Lord. It would be more accurate to say that winning would be the unusual outcome. Shang Qinghua had no words. He felt there was no way to communicate with this guy. He lost his memory. He definitely fell into a chi deviation and lost his memory. If this Shen Qingqiu and Lu Qingge were playing out a scene of a friendly senior and his respectful junior, full of harmonious fraternal love between fellow sect members, oh heavens, maybe in a few days Shen Qingqiu and Luo Bingke would be striking up flirtatious banter. Who could imagine? Who could imagine? The second after this frightful vision flashed through Shang Qinghua's mind, a white shadow darted toward them, and something sticky and clingy suddenly threw itself into Shen Qingqiu's arms. That soft little lump called out, Shizun! I'm fine. It's just seeing White Lotus Bingke. It's just something. It's just so precious to me. So precious and dear to my little heart. Okay. Shen Qingqiu was nearly knocked on his back. He swayed, then grabbed onto a thick bamboo stalk and finally managed to regain his footing. He noticed Shang Qinghua detachedly observing the scene, expressionless. You couldn't fault Shang Qinghua for his frozen expression. At the sight of that wee little lady killer, double little is amazing, with his 2 arms encircling Shen Qingqiu's waist like a steel hoop, the name Bingge had nearly escaped his mouth. Shen Qingqiu stiffly waved his fan with one hand, embarrassed. If you're going to call to me, then just call. Don't drag your voice out like that. Throwing yourself at people every day. And while your Shishu is here, what manner of decorum is this? So he didn't just go Shizun, he went Shizun! He's just so cute. He's just so cute and whittle. He's just so cute and whittle. It's all. Oh, he's like a puppy. Bing pup. Lo Bingke slowly removed his hands and stood straight. He obediently said, Shangshishu then. Shangshishu. Then, after this disciple finished morning lessons, he waited here for Shizun to return. I forgot myself in the moment of excitement. Great Master, airplane shooting towards the sky's heart nearly crumbled. Lo Bingke switched to hugging Shen Qingzhou's arm. Shizun, why were you out for so long? There are a lot of people today. As Shang Qinghua took in Shen Qingzhou's leisurely and contented smile, he couldn't resist guessing how many times the Qingjing Peak Lord hadn't understood earlier, and how many times he had Lu Qingge demonstrate for him. The subsex is crazy in this. Lo Bingke automatically took the sack out from Shen Qingzhou's hands. Next time, can I go too? That depends on your progress in swordplay, Shen Qingzhou said casually. There's some sort of monster in the sack. Your Li Shishu said it's edible. See if you can clean off the hair and figure out how to cook it. You've made Bingke into a kitchen girl. Only the female protagonists are allowed to eat the male protagonist's cooking. Can't you stay in your place? Forget it. Shang Qinghua didn't have the energy. Oh, Lo Bingke happily agreed. As he shook the sack, the thing inside suddenly began to struggle. Shizun, it's still alive. By the time they arrived in the drawing room of the bamboo house, Shen Qingzhou's flock of disciples had surrounded that mysterious creature and were taking turns poking the sack. Stop! Guys! With each poke, the short-haired beast let out a plaintive cry, and yet they were delighted each time, clicking their tongues in wonder. Shizun, it really is still alive. What do we do if it's still alive? Do we still kill and eat it? Let's not. It's so pitiful. Shang Qinghua forced himself to ignore this flock of young disciples sitting all over the ground and lowered his head to drink his tea, his heart twitching. Don't poke this. Wise words. Wise words from Apple. He remembered the last time he'd come. Every disciple had worn a face full of great bitterness and deep resentment. They'd stood like pines or sat like clocks, each with an old text in hand, reciting wherever they went, like they were chanting course. What the fuck is my reading today? Holy shit! They'd stood like pines or sat like clocks, each with an old text in hand, reciting wherever they went, like they were chanting curses, quoting chapter and verse when they spoke, a musical cadence to their voices. When he looked at them today, was this still the renowned Qingjing Peak that produced countless poser youths full of literary airs? This place had become a daycare center for ADHD children. Me! That's me. If it's still alive, then keep it as a pet, said Shen Qingzhou. Let's eat it, let's eat it. Let's just eat it, Bing Fan hurriedly retorted. We've never kept one before, we don't know how much it needs to eat, and changing its water and taking it out for walks and whatnot will be awfully troublesome. Ning Ying pouted. That's enough. If we keep it, it definitely won't be you taking care of it. Shizun would obviously give it to Alo. She lifted her head and asked, Shizun, where did you get this strange thing? The Baijian Peak Lord gave it to me, a return gift for the tea. At this, Ning Ying whined. Shizun, I don't like Baijian Peak. They're so annoying. Last time they used their superior sword skills to bully Alo, they were chasing and beating him. Shang Qinghua thought this quite normal. Baijian Peak's uniform malice toward Lo Bingke was entirely natural. It was the sort of instinctive reaction single-celled organisms had toward traces of concealed evil. This wasn't throwing shade at Baijian Peak. Shang Qinghua was a fan of theirs, for his part. After Enumerating their shortcomings, Ning Ying Ying put forth her request. Shizun, you have to help us teach them a good lesson. Shen Qingzhou choked once, then turned toward Shang Qinghua and smiled politely as he coughed. These children, what are they on about? There ought to be harmony and familial affection within the sect. How could I teach them a good lesson for such a reason? Shang Qinghua repeatedly stated his agreement, returning the same forced smile and drinking tea like his life depended on it. Miss Ying Ying, your Shizun... What the fuck? Miss Ying Ying, your Shizun doesn't need to make a move. Lu Qingge has already taught them quite a cruel lesson. In fact, Shen Qingzhou is in charge of harmony and familial affection, and Lu Qingge is in charge of teaching them a good lesson. This right here is the true nature of a hypocrite. Shang Qinghua was deeply comforted by this. Even after going through a chi deviation and losing his memory, sure enough, Shen Qingzhou was still his treacherous old self. Ours, man. Ours. Luo Binghe had gone to fetch tea leaves, and at this moment he entered the drawing room to present them to Shang Qinghua. Come, Shiri, we have been indebted to Anding Peak's care for a long time now, said Shen Qingzhou. But one kid on the floor was still unwilling to back down. Shizun, you have to avenge Aluo, Ning Ying Ying said, impassioned. Shen Qingzhou was at the end of his patience. Ying Ying, go play outside. You mustn't avenge me or whatever else, Luo Binghe said hastily. It's just that this disciple's skill is inferior to theirs, and he lost face for Shizun and Qingjing Peak. So emo. Your foundation is just a bit lacking, and you can't expect to catch up to them straight away, Shen Qingzhou said, offering words of comfort. As long as you remain diligent, given some time, you will assuredly surpass them. Ming Fan scoffed. It would take 100 years for him to surpass Baijian Peak. Ning Ying Ying flew into a temper. If you look down on Qingjing Peak and Aluo that much, why don't you just go to Baijian Peak and see if they'll take you? Shen Qingzhou put his head in his hands. Didn't I tell you to go outside and play while you're still here? Binghe. We've been saying Binghe for so long that I just defaulted to that. Binghe, get them outside quick. Don't make a circus for yourselves in here. All right, Shizun, but as for this thing, are we eating or keeping it? Shang Qinghua was struck dumb. He was choking down so much that his heart was about to stop. This scene featuring Shen Qingzhou as the ever-attentive teacher and Luo Binghe as the clingiest hanger-on. What the hell was this? Don't fucking tell me Shen Qingzhou really did go to Baijian Peak and mess with people just to avenge Luo Binghe. This benevolent father and filial son act. No. It was more like lifting one's tray to eyebrow level. No. Treating each other as honored guests. Footnote. Lifting the tray to eyebrow level while delivering a meal refers to deep respect between spouses. Treating each other as honored guests also refers to mutual respect between spouses. This was even more fantastical than Shen Qingzhou and Lu Qingge's harmonious spar. If things kept going on like this, maybe there really would be a day when they exchanged flirtatious banter. Pah, if that day really came, he'd eat 3 kilos of shit. Okay, Airplane. Are you gonna stick to that or not? He should have done this a long time ago then, I guess. Nasty. Nasty. Okay, anyway. Also, can I ask if my microphone is alright? My settings are alright? Just checking, because every time I move my mic around I get a little bit of I get a little anxious. I get a little bit of anxiety about it. It's good? Okay. Okay, good to know. Oi. Sorry, I'm burping. It's not alright. This guy. This guy, are you lying to me or not? Tell me. Otherwise I'll cry. Otherwise I'll cry. Tell me if you're lying or not. I'm so serious. I'm so serious. I need to know. Actually, even if I did know, there's not really much I could do at this point. So, after Great Master Airplane finished swearing, he had a rare moment of careful thought. He had never quite used classical idioms properly, and he had hauled out his limited supply to describe Lu Mingyan's beauty. The ones he used with the highest frequency were soft bosoms trembling and as delicate as the finest gossamer. To use treating each other as honored guests was correct here, right? If he looked at the literal meaning, then yes, it was correct. At that moment, the Great Master Airplane shooting towards the sky assiduously struggling to recover from this episode, had not yet realized that the scum villain Shen Jingzhou had already been replaced by that unmatched hater, Peerless Cucumber. To think that in days of yore, when this guy's rants had grown excessively ferocious, Airplane had sometimes casually cursed him, maliciously praying that no matter how peerless his cucumber was, he would never get a chance to use it for the rest of his life. Who could have expected that in some manner of speaking, this curse had been fulfilled? 'Cause he's a bottom! Oh my god. Oh god, I love this. I do. I do love this book so much. That's a scene break. That's like a really, it's like, it like goes into a very short little thing after, but this is like the last couple of pages that we'll get through, and then we'll, hey, this isn't actually that short of a stream. I don't think about it. Maybe I've yapped for too much. La 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 la. Oh, I'm tired. Alright. Only at 894 can't end yet. 894. What does that mean? What does that mean? What does it mean? Oh, what does it mean? Oh, what does it mean? These people are speaking in code. 894. I don't know. Anyway, we are on page 207 at the scene break. This is a whole different This is fun. This is so fun. I love this. I love this. I love this part. These days, Binga's mood was especially bad. Shang Qinghua could understand, as a stallion protagonist who, in the original work, could fuck his way across the continent solo, he had now captured and imprisoned Shen Qingzhou, and... yep, just imprisoned him. Imprisoned him and nothing else. In Ethica, hello, welcome, thanks for the follow, hope you enjoy your stay. Ooh. Wow. Okay. Could you believe it? He was the original author, and even he didn't dare believe it. If he could still control the current Binga in his pen, Binga with his pen, guided by the principle of satisfying the protagonist is satisfying the readers, he would absolutely have let Lu Binga defile Shen Qingzhou hundreds of times, yeah, hundreds of times, over and over, like skewering a kebab. Parentheses, this definitely had nothing to do with his personal grievances against Peerless Cucumber. Definitely not. It's such a breath of fresh air. It's just such a breath of fresh air when when authors say what they want. When authors do whatever the fuck they want. Oh man. No props, position, or location would ever be repeated. Things would get easier once it was skewered, mind you, and of course, feelings would develop during the skewering. In comparison, the current Binga's life was the dull and arduous sort in which he might go 3 years without knowing the taste of meat. Shang Qinghua couldn't help but feel sorry for his dear son. So no brainless idiot would dare go up to Luo Bingke and be a nuisance at this kind of time. In the assembly hall of the what the fuck am I saying? In the assembly hall of the underground palace, everyone hurried about their own business. Xia Hualing was sewing together that giant net of immortal binding cables that Shen Jingzhou had torn apart, as she stole looks at Luo Bingke, sometimes biting her lip in dissatisfaction. Mo Beijun was taking a nap at the west end of the hall, eyes closed. Shang Qinghua bounced his leg, idle to the point of agitation. He really didn't have anything to do, and he hadn't wanted to come to the assembly hall either. But this was demon territory. If he didn't stay within arm's reach of Mo Beijun, who could say if he wouldn't be swallowed whole by some manner of bizarre creature? Just when he was about to crawl over to Mo Beijun and risk a beating to request that his king find somewhere with a less tense atmosphere to nap, Luo Bingke suddenly said one word. If. Every demon in the hall perked up their ears. I gotta get rid of this. If you hold unique feelings for a certain person, how can you make them understand your intentions? Luo Bingke asked. Poor Ice Brother. He was totally like a terminal patient, desperately turning to any doctor he could find. Even though his question was veiled, how couldn't they all tell that he was looking for romantic advice? Sorry, the illustration is on this page, and I love this illustration so much. So much. I think I can pull it up now. I think I can pull it up. Yep, let's pull it up now. Let's bring it to life. Let me find my shit. Let me find my shit. Scum villain for save as pung. Save as pung. Not there. Oh my god. Guys. Okay. It's fine. It's fine. Save there. Great. Wonderful. There it is. Wow! Look at it. He's so fucking serious. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I love this so much. I fucking adore this illustration. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. What can I say? What can I say? Stunning. Stunning. Where were we? Even though his question was veiled, how couldn't they all tell that he was looking for romantic advice? Moreover, he was actually trying to have a serious discussion about this sort of thing in front of his subordinates. Sure enough, people, demons, just shouldn't fall in love, thought Shang Qinghua. Because as soon as they do, their IQ drops like a stone. Obviously, no one dared to tear down Luo Bingke's facade and expose him directly, but this question was really very unsuited to the demonic approach. After a long moment, not a single person had answered. In fact, the answer was so simple that any normal human could have given it to you. If you liked someone, you should just tell them. Unfortunately, there was not a single normal person on the scene, and aside from Shang Qinghua, they were also no humans either. Mo Beijun thought about it. With the paths his mind was given to take, there was no telling how he had interpreted unique feelings. Beat them up 3... Sorry, I wasn't expecting that. Beat them up 3 times a day. This was Mo Bei-jun saying that. Mo Bei-jun who beats up Shang Qinghua 3 times a day. Can we just draw that connection here? Can we just do that for a second? Can we just... Luo Binghe made a stop gesture with one hand and said wisely, "You don't need to answer." Of everyone present, the only one who had a natural advantage due to their gender, and who therefore might be able to field this sort of question, was Sha Hualing. So the others all swept their gazes toward her, with, "What the fuck? Why should I provide this sort of advice to the man I want to take for myself?" written all over her face. The finely shaped lips and brows of the Sha Mei, who had been extremely popular in the original work, twitched several times. Finally, still spasming, she let out a dry, Why doesn't my lord ask Senior Meng Mo?" "I've already asked," said Luo Binghe. He's already asked his dream daddy. Dream daddy. Sorry, don't worry about it. No one knew better what sort of shit answer Meng Mo had given than Shang Qinghua. That guy was the same as Shang Qinghua. He was clearly of the just do them first persuasion. Shang Qinghua broke and let out a chuckle. Sha Hualing had been brooding, her chest full of repressed emotions with nowhere to vent them. Latching onto his brake, she erupted, "You dare? Who are you to sneak into the assembly hall and make a disturbance while my lord is discussing important matters?" That kind of question couldn't be called important matters, could it? And he had only let out one sound. How did this count as a disturbance? As this wasn't the first time Sha Hualing had picked on him, Shang Qinghua was adept at meeting her with indifference. He kept himself planted in his seat, pretending he was nothing more than empty air. As expected, Mo Bei-jun was unconcerned. Sha Hualing saw that no one was paying attention to her, and indignantly wrung her long fingernails. "My lord, Mo Bei-jun brings him everywhere every day without the least bit of discretion, and even brings him to the assembly hall. What is the meaning of this?" Luo Binghe was also unconcerned. "You see him every day. Are you not used to him yet?" Sha Hualing was going to faint. I can pronounce my words. I'm getting too excited about this. But this was the first time in months that Binghe had expressed an opinion on Shang Qinghua's existence. Immediately, Shang Qinghua started up an ecstatic internal chant of, "My son noticed me! He noticed me! Ha ha ha!" What he didn't expect was Luo Binghe taking a look at him and saying, "Since you laughed, does that mean you have something to say?" Shang Qinghua was at a loss for words. Sha Hualing let out a "Ha!" followed by, "Well asked, my lord. Since he is so familiar with humans, he must have some remarkable and clever insight. All of us would do well to listen with respectful attention." Shang Qinghua turned back to look at Mo Bei-jun, who was sitting behind him. Surprise, surprise, he had no intention of helping him out of this situation. So Shang Qinghua braced himself and said decisively, "Well, of course I have something to say. The secret lies in 2 words. Be clingy. As they say, a fierce woman fears a clingy man. A brave... Are we back? Wait, hang on. Did we dip out a little bit? No, I think it was just lagging. Okay. The secret lies in 2 words. Be clingy. As they say, a fierce woman fears a clingy man. A brave hero fears a pampered lady. As long as your skills are up to par, you can grind an iron bar into a needle, even if he's as straight as an embroidery needle. you can still bend him into a paperclip. What's with this straight and bent? Xia Hualing asked. Don't speak the human realm's dialect. My lord, I think he's simply acting enigmatic on purpose. But Luo Binghe was unreservedly immersed in Shang Qinghua's account. I'm still not clingy enough, he muttered. Still? He's just still. What am I supposed to do? He's so fucking emo. And I love him so much. Oh my god. Shang Qinghua babbled nonstop. Cleanliness is the main tactic, but aside from this absolute truth, there's another terribly important angle you must consider. Gentlemen must understand that women's love comes from admiration, and men's love comes from a desire to protect. The matter of woman we will not discuss for now. I am convinced no woman will resist being subdued by my lord's peerless and godly strength, his elegant manner that defies the heavens, and his sincere affections. So we will reserve ourselves to the other case. No, my lord. If my lord wants a man to understand his true intentions and, furthermore, to respond in kind, then what ought my lord do? It's quite simple. No man doesn't wish for a weak, lovable, and docile partner. And what do I mean by lovable? Lovable means some person or thing that can evoke a heart's tenderest affections. So a partner must unquestionably be most obedient. Most bullshit and flattery flowed forth in equal measure, and the crowd in the hall peered at Luo Binghe, seated high above them. His face was gloomy, his pupils growing red. His murderous aura surged beneath the surface, painting a most vivid picture of untouchability, aka discontent. The distance between him and the words weak, cute, docile, and obedient was practically a bottomless chasm. Xia Hualing couldn't resist letting out a scoff. Shang Qinghua hurriedly shut his mouth. Luo Binghe rubbed his temple. Continue. Having been given official approval, Shang Qinghua continued to explain. I'll take Shen Qingzhou as an example, he said, brimming with ill intent. This guy, he's a straight man. Oh, what does straight mean? A straight man is a normal man. Obviously, I'm not saying you are normal, my lord. Rather, he very much values his dignity as a master and teacher. And teachers, they all like students who do as they're told. So if you want him to like you, the first step would be to listen to him and be good. The hall full of demons and beasts was practically scared stiff by his brazenness. Impudence, Xia Hualing snapped. You mean to have my lord pretend to be piteous and obediently listen to him? My lord is the grand ruler of the demon realm. How could he do such a shameless thing? That's right. That's precisely what I mean, Xia. Turn around and take a look at the thoughtful expression on your lord's face. Does he look like he thinks this sort of thing is shameless? Impassioned and vehement. Vehement? His mouth running like a torrent from the heavens down to earth. Shang Qinghua concluded his 20-minute-long romantic consultation. Xia Hualing had already throttled him to death with her eyes 10 million times, and as soon as Luo Binghe left, Shang Qinghua hurriedly moved over to Mo Beijun's side, pressing close to seek protection. He just said all this shit about, just be someone that someone can protect, and shit, and all that, and it's just, I love it. Mo Beijun looked askance at him. So, if you want to be liked by a man, the best method is to act pathetic. Shang Qinghua thought about it. In theory, that would be correct. Mo Beijun reached out his hand. Thinking he was about to be beaten up again, Shang Qinghua hurriedly put his hands over his head, but the pain he expected never arrived. Mo Beijun only lightly tapped him on the top of his head. I love them. Afterward, wait, we can take this down. Afterward, seemingly in a bit of a good mood, he got up and started walking out of the assembly hall. Though Shang Qinghua was confused, he couldn't handle Xia Hualing staring at him from the side, her fiery gaze like that of a tiger piercing its prey. So he hurried to catch up, taking 3 steps for every 2. And that, my friend, is where we are stopping today. Today. Wait, I haven't read that. Shang Qinghua gave advice that actually worked somehow despite being highly questionable. It did work. And this is why I kind of ship their ship name is Complain. This is why I ship Complain a little bit. Shang Qinghua and Shen Qingzhou, because he basically gave the advice to be, you did that anyway. Wei Jun has connected the dots. It's Shang Qinghua who hasn't connected shit. He's about to eat shit. He's so stupid. Only at no. Oh wait, shit. I know what you're talking about now. Fuck. Shit. Maybe I'll just leave. Maybe I'll just leave now. Sounds good. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. I'm trying to move my hand to do like a thanks for watching. Thanks for I did it a little bit. Thanks for watching. Thanks for oh, I can't do it. Doesn't work. Okay. Crazy. I'm gonna go eat more food. I didn't have enough food, so I'm gonna eat more food. Yippee! I'm so happy that I made food earlier, so I can just eat it all day. It's fun. It's fun to have food. It's nice. It's a nice feeling, and it's nice vibes, and it's a good thing. It's already. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for listening. Sorry, burpee. I hope you had a fun time. I hope you had a fun time. I sure had a fun time. If you want to, if you're interested in like music and covers and stuff, Sky's VOD should be out of the concert, of which I helped organize and co-host and all that. Sky's VOD should be out soon, if not already out. Probably not yet. It takes a while for these long streams to upload. But yeah, you can go check out Sky stuff. How do I go? Twitch.tv/SkyGlobes. Will that work? Will that work, guys? Did that work? Hell yeah, it worked. Okay. If you want to check out that, have fun with that. Also, if you want to check out my cover just individually, that's also out on my covers channel. It's called Aries Ite. Don't worry about it. There's links everywhere, so you can find it if you really want to find it. I will. What is happening next week? I don't have a schedule yet for next week. Expect a longer stream for next week's reading because we have quite a bit to get through. It's the airplane extras, if you know what I mean. It's that part. Okay. If rereaders know what I mean. It's so fun. Okay. Anyway, next week. I do not have a schedule. I will be playing Dispatch on Wednesday because I love that's also Christmas Eve or Christmas Day for some of y'all, I guess. But I'm not doing anything for Christmas, so if you want to hang out, hang out, we'll have fun. If not, that's fine. You got things to do. Whatever. Whatever. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. But yeah, for people who don't really do anything for that day, stop on by. We're in the same boat. I will. Yeah, I'll leave you to it. Thanks for hanging about, and yeah, have a great rest of your day, and mask up during this holiday season because boy oh boy, everyone and their mother is getting sick, and it causes irreversible damage. Just letting you know. Just letting you know, COVID is still very much a thing. You don't want to get sick this holiday. You don't want to do it. You don't want to do it. Okay? Yeah. I'll see you later. I'll see you next week. Have a great day. Goodbye. Yeah, once and never again. Okay, well, can I just... Okay, I know I'm stalling, but, like, can I just say... I'm gonna go on a bit of a COVID rant. Just... I had COVID once in my life. I don't understand how people can repeatedly be getting COVID and not understand how their symptoms are tied to it, because I get really bad phlegm issues now that I had never had before. I get like tightness in my chest a lot. I have like I have long COVID essentially. I think most people have long COVID. I think everyone who's gotten COVID has long COVID. So just know it also greatly deteriorates your immune system and makes you susceptible to other illnesses, of which you can die from or be disabled from. COVID disables. So if you don't want to be disabled, please, for the love of God, mask. God, mask up. It's the best measure to take is a preventative one. All right, that's the best safety measure to take. Okay, rant over. I'll see you later. I'm just gonna head out. Okay, bye.